Yes, this is tactical red, and I'm in the bed because I'm ill. But I want to talk about the positives and negatives of Man United because a lot of fans really piss me off. A lot of these Man United fans, they're not on point. I'm sorry. Some of the things that they think is true is not, and I'm going to expose that in this video. I've been a Man United fan since I was 5 years old. So I've been a Man United fan throughout the 90s and the 2000s for a long time. So I understand how football is worked and how football is played, should I say. I'm a bit ill, so I'm talking maybe a bit gibberish, but I understand football and I can see things with my eyes. And a lot of fans, I don't know if it's this new breed or this old breed that's stuck in the past, but they can't see a lot. So to start with the positives, we won the trophy, obviously the League Cup, which is definitely a positive for Manchester United because we went many years without winning it and we needed to win it. Number two is, we have a very solid defence. I know we've been battered a few times, and especially away from home, but I'm going to touch on that as well. But you had the most clean sheet record in the league, the best clean sheet record in the league. So that does count for something. Do you know what I mean? We've also meet expectations. Finishing third and winning the trophy for me is Ten Hag meeting expectations. Yeah, there might be some things that we're not happy about, that some people are happy about, some people are ecstatic about. Some people think Ten Hag is flawless and cannot be criticized. But yeah, the minimum he did is meet expectations, and you have to give him credit for that. There is no doubt. The home record is very good, I have to admit. Second to Man City's home record in the league. And that is a massive achievement, I think, especially how we wasn't that great at home previously. Benched McTominay and Maguire. This was crucial. I mean, I've been waiting for managers to bench this guy. I know he's been the third manager that's had Maguire, but even Mourinho played McTominay. It was ridiculous, and McTominay only plays because Fergie, by the way. But I will talk about that later. Yeah, benched these two, which is crucial. If we sort out the away form, then we could challenge technically because our home form is top. If we just sort out the away form, we may be able to challenge. And this summer is crucial. I know we've already bought Mason Mount, but it's crucial to get the summer right. If the summer goes wrong, and I don't think this is completely on Ten Hag. I believe this is, the board and it's just the way we're run as a club is just terrible. That's why the Glazers need to go and we need to get in Qatar. But that doesn't look like it's happening because I think it was just a psyop. I think they were just pretending to sell the club. They just don't want to because lately they've been in all the finals. They're showing their face all the time. I just don't trust it, to be honest. Now I'm going to touch on some of the negatives of our season. And there's been a lot of negatives, more than positives, in my opinion. The first one is it's really important for me. And I understand maybe it's for Ten Hag as well. Casemiro. Like, people be like, how can you talk negative about Casemiro? Well, I believe a DM should be able to pass the ball above 84% accuracy regularly. Like, this is just normal for a DM. This should be an everyday occurrence. But Casemiro's passing accuracy is 79%, and we build up play. We want to play a possession style based football. How can we do that with Casemiro in the team if he's giving the ball away 21% of the time? That is not what we need. If you look at players in other clubs, DMs in other clubs, Rodri, 91, Partey, 88, Rice, 88, Enzo Fernandez, 89. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, who else is there? Even McTominay has a higher pass rate at 82% than Casemiro. And I think McTominay's rubbish. Bruno Guimaraes, 84. Do you know what I mean? This is Fabinho. Liverpool's Fabinho, 89. This is how you construct a team through a DM who can hold the ball and keep possession. And Casemiro isn't the guy for us to do that. He is a good player. He's a top player, but he needs to have two ball-playing midfielders in front of him for it to work like it did in Real Madrid. If he hasn't got that, and with Bruno Fernandes, he definitely hasn't. And Eriksen is okay, but he's too slow. So it's just a mess. And Ten Hag really needs to sort that out next season. I don't know what he's going to do. If he's brought in Mount, whose pass percentage is 85, which is okay. But you're going to play Bruno, which is 70. Bruno's a 77 passing accuracy. This is why attacks break down a lot for us, and this is why we don't score a lot of goals when you really look at it. Even Lavia, the one who's going to Liverpool, is 86% passing accuracy. Top clubs will not accept 79. I'm sorry. And that's why Real Madrid sold him. Not saying that, and obviously he was 30, so, and 70 million, you can't say no. But he's been a good acquisition. I'm not saying he hasn't, but he fell off at the end of the season. Just fell off, and I don't know what he's going to be like next season. If we sign this Rasmussen Hojland, it's a massive mistake. I get Ahmed vibes from him. I don't think he's that good. You know, we need a striker who can hold up the ball because we don't have one. And Hojland is just a Rashford, and Rashford is better than Hojland up front. So what's the point of buying Hojland if he's just a Rashford up front? I know he's a bit more poachery than Rashford, definitely, but he's still just the same qualities. You know, there's nothing really that amazing about him when you really look at him, when you really analyze his game. And I've watched him live a few times. He can't hold the ball up. His ball control isn't great. And I don't think Man United should even pay 30 million for him because I don't think he will do a lot for us. It recently came out in the paper that, you know, Man United don't want to sell McTominay even though it's pure profit, even though he's 26, 27 and he still hasn't established himself as even a rotational option, because when McTominay comes on the pitch, I don't think it's a good option. I don't feel confident. I feel like he can only do the last 5 minutes to clear headers and stuff. So, and the reason why is in a video that I saw with Fergie telling Mourinho, play McTominay. Now, he's clearly Scottish. Clearly, Fergie's known him since he was 9, and he loves him because he's Scottish. I think the McTominay obsession really needs to end. He's not even starting games. We could get 20, 25 million for him. Maybe. I think more like 15, 20 personally. I think 15. Because I don't think anyone will pay him more than 15, 20 million. And you know, we could recoup some money and purchase another midfielder. You know, but keeping McTominay is a waste of time, and I blame Fergie because he's backed him and forced managers, in my opinion. I know it's in my opinion, but I believe he's forced managers to sign him. So before the World Cup, Rashford only had 4 goals in 14 games. After that 2-month run of form where he scored a few goals, no doubt, he was very good, can't deny it. After that, he played 19 games and scored 5 goals. Now, I'm not saying it's rubbish, but that's a poor return. He's only had 2 good months in this season. And that's the thing with Rashford. It's always going to be inconsistency. It's always going to be play well for a bit and then play rubbish for a longer period. This is Rashford in a nutshell. And I don't see him becoming the consistent, potent player that we need, because I think Rashford really, really genuinely, what I see in Rashford is that he lacks confidence. And I think form players are players that lack confidence. That's what they are. Real top players don't lack confidence. Form players feel good for like a period, then they fall off because they lack confidence. And that's it, Rashford. And I'm sorry, I don't believe he's the answer. I don't believe, you know, him being on the wing really, he can be a threat, don't get me wrong, and he can score goals and he can be good. But he's not for me. In my opinion, a lot of people love Rashford. He's the golden boy. He's been pushed. And the reason why everyone loves him is because he's been pushed. And obviously he did the thing for the feeding the kids thing. But other than that, like, I don't really think people watch the game and understand the game and look at the stats and watch the football. He doesn't actually play well. He just scores. That's just not enough for me as a Man United player, for me. I'm sorry. Manchester United only scored 3 times. Only scored 3 goals in 5 matches in the whole of the Premier League. So think about that. We've only scored 3 or more in 5 games. And one of those games was our loss to Manchester City. So technically, it's 4 games. We've only scored 3 goals to win the game. Over 3 goals to win the game. This tells me 2 things. You see, again, it comes down to what I said about Casemiro, the ball playing. We're not keeping the ball enough. We're not moving the ball well. Even De Gea to a degree. But I think the Casemiro and De Gea, I think actually Casemiro is... I don't know if he's the bigger problem than De Gea, but he is a problem. Believe me, he is a problem. Like, when we have a ball-playing keeper and Casemiro's not trying to receive the ball or losing the ball, it's going to break down attacks. Honestly, it's going to break down attacks. We need ball-playing DMs. I'm sorry, we need a ball-playing DM. And this will create more goals for us. Plus, this is why we need a striker, because we don't really have one. And, you know, I'm going to get onto Anthony and Sancho and stuff soon. Now, I do a lot of my stats. I get a lot of my stats from WhoScore, because I think WhoScore really breaks things down clearly and precisely. And I look at many things about players, and I also look at like players' strengths and weaknesses. I look at all the players, and all players seem to have some strengths. Like mainly, some players don't have any weaknesses, but all players tend to have some strengths. Marcus Rashford statistically has no strengths. Now, I'm not trying to attack Rashford here, but we have to understand that he is overrated. He's been elevated because he's a star boy. He's been pushed by the media, by Manchester United as a star boy, but he's actually not a quality player. He's not. Like, he is a good player. He has potential, which he hasn't really gone to that heights yet, in my opinion. But I I think there needs to be more from Rashford, in my opinion. And I know he scored 30 goals this season, and how dare I ask for more? But at the same time, he didn't perform for most of the season, and he still won the Player of the Year, which is it's shocking. Obviously, Man United fans or Man United players voted. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I think this guy is just I think this guy did pull off a very good 2 months, like world class. He was performing world class for 2 months, and if that wins you Player of the Year, then so be it. But not for me. Sancho and Anthony. Now, there's a lot of Man United fans that dislike Anthony, but there's a lot of Man United fans that back Anthony and say Anthony is a quality player and a quality signing for 90 million. And Sancho is 75 million. Now, it's his first season in the Premier League, so okay, whatever. But the guy has less goals and less assists than Jadon Sancho. Sancho it's not a big gap, but it's still less. Sancho has 6 goals, Anthony has 4 goals in Premier League. And Anthony has 2 assists and Sancho has 3, and Sancho was gone for 3 months. Or however long it was. I've watched Anthony many, many times, and I think he is overrated completely. I think he is actually the worst signing that Ten Hag made, to be honest with you. I think it's the worst signing. For £90 million, what we could have bought for £90 million, and we decided to buy Anthony, is shocking. It is very, very shocking. The quality that he has. He can't use his right foot. He just does the same thing all the time. He doesn't really assist. He's not very quick. He doesn't really have any skills or tricks to get past players. He does work hard, and I think that's why the Man United fans like him. He is work hard. He does work hard, and he does run back. And this is what gets to me about Man United fans. They rate all of that over quality. I'm sorry, it's not enough. And I know it does do something. I know it does help work rate and stuff like that. But when you need to win games, when you need to do things, quality will always be the pinnacle of success. And Anthony doesn't have a lot of quality for a £90 million signing, €95 million signing. I mean, the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo has more goals and assists than Anthony in the Europa League is an indication of what Anthony actually is. He's right now, I know a lot of people don't want to say it because they don't want to go against Ten Hag, but Anthony is a flop. For 90 million, if he produces 4 goals and 2 assists in the Premier League, that is a flop. I don't care where you're coming from or what you're about. It's a flop. It's a flop season. A minimum for £90 million player for his first season, I expect at least 10 to 15 goals and assists. At least. And he's only got 6 combined. That's poor. That's very, very poor. And Ronaldo, who has not even been there he's been there for 11, 15 games and was benched most of the time, still scored more goals than him. It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. And it's not highlighted enough. And I think, I mean, I'm the type of person that I know people don't want Greenwood back and stuff like that. And I'm the type of person that I think Greenwood is such a much better option than Anthony. But Ten Hag's not going to play him because Ten Hag signed him. But Ten Hag really, really needs to... Ten Hag is very stubborn. You can see it. So he's not going to change. But he's going to have to be forced to it eventually because Anthony isn't that guy. I don't think any of Ten Hag signings have been good. Now, I'm going to really explain that quickly. As I said with Anthony, it's a flop. Eriksen, we're replacing him with Mason Mount, so therefore that's a flop. Weghorst, certified flop. Sabitzer, definitely a flop. Now, Malacia, I wouldn't really call him a flop. Now, he's done okay. He's decent, but he's not a starter. So we don't really feel the effects of Malacia. He's good backup and he's a good rotation squad player. No doubt. He is a good squad player. He's decent, but he's not really that good. I wouldn't feel comfortable having Malacia playing 20 games straight. I wouldn't. I don't think he's that good. So I don't think, no. And then Martinez wasn't even Ten Hag's first choice. He wanted Timber. So that wasn't his first choice. Now, you could say, well, he still signed him. So technically, how can you say that? I hear that, but he played with Ajax and he got Timber and Martinez, and we needed a left-sided centre back, and he was going for Timber. It doesn't make any sense. Like it didn't make any sense. But yeah, Martinez is quality. But I don't think he was the first choice. And Casemiro. Now, his first choice was De Jong. I don't think even he wanted Casemiro. I think the key is because he never started playing him at the beginning of the season, but all the other players that he signed, he played them straight away. So I don't think Casemiro was his signing. I believe the club signed him and he just said, yeah. And then Casemiro has been good for us, but he's not the answer at the same time. So, again, it's not a great signing. So this is not really done that well. And Mason Mount, again, is to be seen, to be honest. I think what a lot of people haven't realised is that, especially in the second half of the season, after that Rashford gas, after basically won the League Cup, the second half of the games, we just never, ever turned up. We never turned up in the second half. Now, that to me is Ten Hag's motivational skills. Now, the first half of the season, we would come back here and there and, fight back and stuff, and during that Rashford gas, but we just couldn't do it anymore. We couldn't really produce performances in the second half when we were losing or drawing to win or something like that. We was fading and messing around, especially against the top teams. And obviously against the top teams, we was rubbish away from home. I think we only, who did we beat away from home in the top 10? I don't think we beat any team away from home except Fulham, which is embarrassing. Like, he really needs to sort out the away form. And the reason why I think the away form is so poor is because we don't score enough goals. And I think away from home, you need to be more clinical. And I think when you don't have goal scorers in your team, which Anthony is not, which we haven't had really a striker. Bruno's stats have been going down season after season. He came here with 18 goals, came here with 20 plus goals. He's gone from 18 to 10 to 8. Like he's every season he's scoring less and less goals. And I'm not saying, not attacking Bruno, but I'm just pointing out the facts. We didn't have any player score double figures except Rashford in the league. We don't score enough goals. And I think he's bought Mason Mount because Mason Mount can score goals, as he's proven in the past. Obviously not the last season for Chelsea, but he was injured and stuff. But he can score goals. But we need a top striker. We really need a top striker because I think our issue is goals. And this is why I talk about Mason Greenwood. I know people don't want him and stuff, and I understand that completely, and I get it. But again, we need goals. If we just run out, we just dry. We just don't score enough. Like, we don't score enough goals. How can it be Rashford with 17 goals, Bruno with 8 goals, and then Sancho and Martial with 6? That's it. It's rubbish. It's absolutely rubbish. And I think people keep focusing on, oh yeah, we need to buy a defender. But I'm glad Man United aren't buying a defender because we never needed a defender. If Harry Maguire is happy to be a fourth player bench, let him stay on the bench. I don't care. Like, we don't need to waste money on a defender. We need attacking players and players who can keep the ball. That's what we need. And playing Bruno out of position, I mean, I'm not the biggest Bruno fan, but I know his qualities. But playing him out of position is unnecessary. I've seen him play right and left and stuff, and he doesn't perform in these positions. So I don't think we need to play him out of position. I think he needs to stick to the number 10. I think he played okay as a number 8. I saw him play at number 8 a few times. He didn't do too bad, in my opinion. But he needs to either play in the centre. That's the key. And Ten Hag needs to really get that. And also the football we play. Ten Hag came with the reputation of playing proper football, Ajax-style football, passing, possession-based football, and, pressing this, that, and the other. We don't do that. Why? Because the players he has. And, I blame some part of the Glazers and the board with this because our board is shocking. Our board. I mean, our board is consistent of Glazers, the two brothers, Glazer brothers, Bobby Robson, who's 85, Alex Ferguson, who's 81, and David Gill, who doesn't really operate in football anymore, really. That's the board. That's who's actually making the top decisions. And then we have John Murtagh and Richard Arnold and Darren Fletcher and some other guy who's a communication. Like, we're just shocking. We are just shocking. This is why, if you see that board, this is why we don't do well. You can see that it's just average. It's just people who are old, relics who, I'm not saying Ferguson and Bobby Robson and David Gill aren't good, but they're out of date. Their sell-by date has long gone. You don't see boards of 80-year-olds, Glazers who don't know football, and David Gill. And obviously, they're all going to be relying on Ferguson's acumen to make decisions, in my opinion. So, you know, the sell of the non-sell of McTominay is definitely Ferguson, because he's on the board. There's only 5 members on the board, and Ferguson's one of them, and he's the most powerful one. Let's be honest. You know, so you know the football we play is shocking, and Ten Hag really needs to improve the football. I mean, it came with a reputation, and I haven't seen it. I've seen glimpses of it, but I haven't seen it against top teams except Tottenham game, which I was actually in the stadium for that game, and we played very, very good. That's the best I've seen us play in years. Maybe I should go to more games. But yeah, no, this is what it is, and we just need to sign proper signings and make proper decisions. We need to have the guitar there, eliminate these old relics, get rid of John Mota and Richard Arnold, get rid of all of them, honestly. And we've got so many English, like, we've got so many people. Like, when you look at Man City's, like, coaching staff, there's, like, 7. Man United is, like, 20. I don't know why so many people are just milking the cow of Manchester United. It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. There's no control. They're all Fergie's fledgling friends, and, you know, they keep him in the know, and they keep him updated, and it's just, Fergie is a control freak. We know that. You can see it, and you can see that that's what's happening at Man United. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video on Tactical Red. This is Tactical United. I'm ill, I'm in the bed, I'm not 100%, but here we go.